I spent years providing and protecting my golden child daughter, never realizing I was slowly erasing my son away. I ignored him like he never mattered. Little did I know that the tables would turn around one day, and I deeply regret my actions. My husband has been gone for 3 years. Cancer. It was quick in the end. Quicker than any of us were prepared for. My daughter moved overseas 2 years before he died. At first she called often. Then less. Now it's birthdays and holidays. Sometimes not even that. I don't blame her. She has her own life. But this house is quiet now. Too quiet. When the refrigerator hums at night, it feels loud. When the clock ticks, I hear it in my chest. And in this silence, memories don't stay buried. They sit with me. Especially the ones about my son. If I am honest, I did not treat my children the same. I don't need therapy language to understand that now. My daughter was everything I wasn't growing up. Confident. Sharp. Bold. She spoke her mind without fear. Teachers praised her intelligence. Relatives admired her. When people complimented her, I felt seen. I felt like I had done something right. My son was quieter. He was the kind of child who watched before he spoke. He was sensitive in ways I didn't have patience for. If you corrected him harshly, it stayed with him. You could see it on his face. And I mistook that softness for weakness. When they argued, I sided with her more often than I admit. If she cried, I comforted her immediately. If he cried, I told him to stop being dramatic. I remember saying once, "You're a boy. Why are you so emotional?" He was 9. 9. What did he know about how boys are supposed to feel? But I said it anyway. Because in my mind, I was shaping him, toughening him, preparing him. The truth is uglier. I didn't want to deal with big emotions. And he had them. There is one memory that won't leave me. He was about 13. My daughter accused him of deleting something important on her laptop. He said he didn't. He stood in front of me, trembling, trying to explain. She was calm, clear, convincing. I didn't ask questions. I grabbed his arm and dragged him to his room. I told him I was disappointed in him. Disappointed. He kept saying, "Mom, I didn't do it." I said, "Stop lying." Later that night, my daughter admitted she had accidentally deleted the file herself. She laughed about it. She said, "I thought it was him." I remember standing in the kitchen holding a glass of water, feeling something sink in my stomach. I could have gone to his room. I could have said, "I'm sorry." I didn't. I told myself it would make things awkward. So I chose my comfort over his truth. That is what I did over and over again. I chose my comfort. My husband noticed sometimes. He would say, "You're harder on him." I would defend myself. "I'm preparing him for the real world. He needs to be stronger. She's just different." We never fought about it deeply. Maybe he didn't want to admit it either. Maybe it was easier for both of us not to look too closely. As they grew older, the gap widened. My daughter got tutoring when she struggled. My son got lectures. When she failed, I protected her. When he failed, I criticized him. When relatives praised her, I joined in. When relatives joked about him being the backup, I laughed. I can still see the moment he stopped reacting. That's the part that haunts me. He used to argue back. Then he stopped. He used to defend himself. Then he stopped. He used to look at me for reassurance. Then he stopped. He became polite. Polite is worse than angry. Anger means there is still hope. Politeness means something has closed. He left home at 18. No drama. No shouting. He packed his things quietly. He hugged me and said, "Thank you for everything." I remember thinking, why does that sound like goodbye? Not the normal goodbye. A final one. Now he is successful. Very successful. He built something from nothing. I know he struggled in those early years. I know he worked jobs I never would have wanted for him. He never asked me for help. Not once. At the time, I told people proudly, he's independent. Now I understand something. He learned early that help was unreliable. My husband died with my daughter by his side. My son arrived 2 days later. Work, he said. I believed him. But part of me wonders if there was something else. He stood at the funeral like a guest. Respectful. Composed. He helped with arrangements. He made sure I was okay. But he didn't lean into me. He didn't cry in my arms. He didn't fall apart. I realized then that I was no longer his safe place. And I had done that. Now I am older. My knees ache when I climb the stairs. I forget small things. Sometimes I sit at the dining table alone and stare at the chair he used to sit in. He calls. Not often. But he calls. He sends money sometimes without me asking. That's what breaks me the most. After everything, he still takes care of me. And I don't know if it's love. Or obligation. Or just who he is. I want to tell him I was wrong. I want to tell him I see it now. But how do you look your grown son in the eyes and say, I made you feel less valuable because it was easier for me? How do you admit that you protected his sister at his expense? His sister is far away now. My husband is gone. The child I overprotected is not here. The child I hardened is the only one who still shows up. And I am terrified. Not of rejection. But of hearing him say calmly, it's okay, Mom. Because what if it's not okay? What if he already buried that part of himself? What if he forgives me, but never feels for me the way a son should? I don't need his money. I need his heart. And I don't know if I broke it beyond repair. If you were him, would you forgive a mother like me? Let me hear from you in the comments.